I never thought a single envelope in the mail could make me choke on my morning coffee, but there I was, staring at a power bill that read almost $5,000. My stomach dropped. $5,000 for a month's worth of electricity in a house where the most extravagant thing running was my kid's PlayStation. That was the moment I realized something in Maple Ridge, my quiet little neighborhood, was rotten, and by the time I was done, the entire HOA would be left sitting in the dark. My name's Roman Ehlers. I'm 39, an electrician who spends his days crawling through attics and fixing breakers no one else wants to touch. I came home every night wanting a piece of beer, maybe some time on the porch. What I didn't want was a war with Regina Catley, the HOA president with bleached blonde hair, a salmon-colored pantsuit for every occasion, and a voice sharp enough to strip paint. She ruled the neighborhood like it was her private kingdom, clipboard always in hand, judging flower beds and barking about garbage cans like it was a matter of national security. When I saw that bill, I paced my kitchen in disbelief. I called the power company. They said the meter was accurate. Accurate. For what a nightclub. So I went out back and checked myself. That's when I saw the meter wasn't just spinning, it was screaming. Something was pulling a massive amount of power from my line. I traced it, crouched in the grass following the buried cable across the greenbelt, and found it snaking into the HOA's pride and joy, the freshly renovated clubhouse. Air conditioning, blasting pool heated like a spa, floodlights bright enough to guide airplanes, all of it running straight off my meter. I stormed into the next HOA meeting, that bill clenched in my fist like a weapon. The retirees sat there with their lemonade half asleep while Regina perched at the head of the table. I held up the paper. "You want to explain why my house is powering your clubhouse?" She blinked at me, fake sweet. "Roman, please. We had licensed contractors handle the upgrades. If there was a mistake, it wasn't intentional." I laughed, short bitter. "A mistake that just happens to steal $5,000 from me. That's some accident." She waved her hand like I was a child throwing a tantrum. "We'll look into it and get back to you." I leaned forward. "No, you'll fix it now, and you're going to reimburse me." That's when her eyes narrowed. "Are you accusing your HOA board of theft?" "I'm accusing you of being a parasite?" "Regina." The room went quiet, tension thick. Someone coughed. She stood, lips tight. "You're out of order, Mr. Ehlers. Until further notice, stop disrupting our meetings." I walked out before I said something worse, but in my chest I was boiling. The following days I turned into my own detective. I installed cameras around my meter, crawled the property line, traced every junction. And what I found wasn't sloppy, it was sophisticated. Fake city inspection tags, weatherproofed boxes, deep-buried conduit designed to avoid casual discovery. Someone knew exactly what they were doing. And every fake permit I photographed had one thing in common: Regina's signature. But even with all this evidence piling up, doubt crept in. Late one night, sitting in my dark living room, I asked myself if I'd gone too far. Maybe the meter was wrong. Maybe I was making enemies in a neighborhood I'd have to keep living in. Did I really want to fight the board alone? For a few minutes I thought about dropping it, paying the damn bill, and pretending it never happened. But then I remembered the smirk on Regina's face when she dismissed me like I was an inconvenience. They weren't just stealing money, they were insulting my intelligence, counting on me to roll over. That was the moment the hesitation died. If they wanted a fight, I'd fight with the one thing I knew better than anyone: electricity. I took the evidence to my friend Samira, a property lawyer. She flipped through my photos, eyebrows raised. "Roman, this isn't just shady bookkeeping. This is criminal misappropriation, wire fraud, utility theft." She told me to go public file reports, make noise. So I did. Police, city inspectors, the whole 9 yards. Then came Thursday night. The clubhouse was lit up for one of Regina's budget wine parties masquerading as a planning forum. Music thumped, AC units hummed. I waited until the crowd was deep into their Chardonnay, then walked to my breaker box. The cameras caught me flipping a single switch labeled Aux Feed Junction X42. With one click, the entire clubhouse plunged into silence. Lights gone, music, dead, heaters off. Across the greenbelt I heard the shrieks and groans. I poured myself a glass of water and sat down smiling for the first time all week. 15 minutes later, pounding shook my front door. Regina stood there, sequined heels sinking into my porch blouse, clinging from the humid night. "What did you do?" she hissed. I stared blankly. "Come again." "Don't play dumb. The clubhouse lost power the second I cut her off. You mean right after I sent that invoice for $5,247. Funny timing. Her jaw dropped. "That's extortion." I stepped closer. "No, Regina. Extortion is stealing from your neighbors and lying about it." She tried to push past me, but I blocked the doorway. "You're trespassing now. Step back." Her composure cracked for just a second before rage filled her face. "You'll regret this," she spat. "Doubt it," I said, shutting the door in her face. By morning, the neighborhood was buzzing. Rumors flew. Some kids even posted footage of the clubhouse going dark, time-stamped perfectly with my own recordings. Regina tried to spin it as a transformer failure, then accused me of sabotage in a mass email. That only backfired. Neighbors started asking questions, then demanding answers. By Sunday, 3 of them were on my porch with cookies wanting the truth. I laid everything out: photos, forged permits, wiring maps. Their outrage was louder than mine. Monday night, nearly 30 residents gathered in the park while the clubhouse sat in darkness behind us. I showed the evidence on a projector. Gasps, curses, disbelief. Then Samira read the city's official statement. The permit number Regina used didn't even exist. Mark, a retired engineer, added, "This is felony-level forgery, utility theft. The board is liable." The crowd erupted, shouting for resignations, lawsuits, audits. I didn't have to lead. I'd lit the fuse and the neighborhood was ready to burn the old regime down. By Wednesday, police raided the HOA office, seizing checks with Regina's signature and the contractor's invoices. The next morning, Regina quietly resigned. No apology, just an email about personal matters. But the storm had only begun. A forensic audit uncovered nearly $200,000 siphoned off HOA dues over the years. Shell companies, fake landscaping, bogus security upgrades. It was theft on a massive scale, all orchestrated by Regina and her cronies. The day they arrested her, she wasn't the smug queen of Maple Ridge anymore. She was a criminal in handcuffs led out of her office in front of everyone. The charges stacked high: wire fraud, forgery, conspiracy theft. She'd thought no one would notice, that no one would bother to check the wiring, but she'd underestimated the wrong man. When the verdict came, she was sentenced to 12 years in state prison, no parole until year 8. Her allies cut deals, but they were finished too. And just like that, the HOA's iron grip collapsed. That's where I'll stop the story. Because the truth is, the moment Regina was marched out in cuffs, the fight was over. Not with confetti or celebrations, but with silence, the kind that follows a storm when you know it's finally safe to breathe. And if there's one lesson I took from all of it, it's this: bullies thrive in the dark until someone finally flips the switch.